All right, my story is basically about January 27th, Tuesday morning of this year. It was about my ride to this school. Every morning I wake up at about 5:30 to take 3 buses to get to the school at 9 o'clock. When I wake up at 5:30 in the morning, it is about 52 degrees, so it's freezing cold. So usually I wear about 2 coats in order to keep myself warm. I also sometimes have gloves. I don't usually like to wear them though. And so that morning I went to my first bus stop, and I had taken that route a few times. I've done some practice runs, so I was pretty used to it. I kind of had an idea of how it was going to be. And so I sat there at the station, not the station, the stop, for a while. And when the first bus passes by on the other side of the street, I know that it's usually going to go around, and it takes probably about 2 to 3 minutes to come around, and then it'll be right where I am. I had assumed that that's when it was going to be there. I could understand if it was going to be a little late. Yeah, that's how buses usually are, they can run late. But I didn't expect that it would be early. So when I was huddled up in my 2 sweaters and I had my hood on and I was hiding inside like the little gazebos that they have for bus stops, some of them, not all of them, I didn't realize when the bus had shown up in front of me, and it looked like it was slowing down. I thought it was gonna wait for me and like ask me, oh, do you want to get on? No, it didn't slow down. I don't know, I guess maybe because it was turning, and it just kept going. And the moment I saw that, I was like, hey, wait! It didn't want to stop. It kept going. At that moment, I was in a panic. I was freaking out. I was like, what do I do? What do I do? I gotta think rationally, don't get hectic. And I was like, where does that bus go? Where does that bus go? I know the route. It goes around the block, and it passes 2 streets, and at the end of that street, it makes a right, and at that right, that's another stop, and I was at the corner, so it was gonna meet me on that same street. So I thought, I gotta book it, I gotta run. So I started running as fast as I could all the way down that street. And I was hoping the whole way, I can make it, I know I'm fast, I can do it. I got about halfway and it was already there. I missed it. Out of frustration, there was a pole next to me, and I just punched the damn thing, hurt my fist, and pulled up my phone. Sadly, I called my grandfather and I was like, hey, I missed the first bus, can you help me out? And he's like, yeah. So he came and picked me up, and we skipped the first bus and just went straight to the second stop. At the second stop, I arrived at about 6:35. It's supposed to arrive at 6:45, so I was like, all right, I'm not late, it hasn't beaten me. And that's what I think, at least. And so I waited. 6:45 came, bus wasn't there, and I was like, same thing, it could be late. I'm not surprised. I've been sometimes when it shows up at 7. So I waited and turned 7, still wasn't there. I was like, maybe it's running a little extra late today. 7:10, didn't show up. 7:15, 7:20, 7:25, 7:30, still hasn't shown up, and I am getting frustrated. At 7:35, I had started to curse the bus itself. I didn't care about the driver. The driver, it wasn't his fault. It was probably not having a bad day. The bus itself, it must have broken down. It must be angry. It must hate me. I was so angry. I was cursing the freaking bus. I was saying, fuck you, 285. What the hell? I was so mad. But at 7:45, that bus had shown up. Now, I had already given up hope. That bus is supposed to take me to the next stop, which is going to be on Beach and Whittier. And that bus, the third bus, is supposed to show up at 8:20. So I had from 7:45 all the way in Hacienda to get to Beach and Whittier in, like, say, 40 minutes, I think. That bus had shown up so late that I had lost all hope, and I was like, I'm not going to make it. I'm just going to pay, see how close I can get. And the moment that bus showed up, I felt like the bus driver knew I needed to get somewhere quick. Because the moment he got there, before he even stopped, he already had the doors opening. I jumped onto the stop and the bus, and I started paying my money. Before I even finished paying the money, he was already going. And after I'd done that, I sat down and I just felt the engine running, and he was going as fast as legally possible for a bus. And so at that moment, we were going, and I arrived at this last stop where I needed to get off on that second bus. And at that, when I got off through the window of the front window of the bus, I saw The third bus had already arrived at the stop. I was in a panic, so I got off the bus and I ran to the sidewalk where they crossed, because I was across the street. When I saw that, the light had not changed yet, so I still had to cross. So I was pressing the button. I swear, it must have been a minute, but it felt like years before that light changed. So I was angry and I was distraught. And at the end, finally it changed and I began to book it. I ran as fast as I could, carrying my duffel bag and my backpack. And I took off my beanie because it was falling all over the place. And then finally the bus started going and he stopped for me and he let me get on. Then when I got on that bus, I knew I had somehow made it. I somehow was going to make it to school on time. And I got to school at 9 o'clock exactly. And I had made it on time and I was just happy. Yeah.